traveling the world for £35,000 or 48,000 US dollars. Can you do that for a whole year? Well, we did it, I think, in our first year of world travel. And that's one of the questions that we're going to be covering in today's video, because today's video is a Q&A.
We haven't done one for a while.
This is your editor speaking. I'm somewhere in Ireland at the moment. More on that in later videos. But Sarah and I cocked up a little bit because we released a video of us walking to the pub. And while we were in the pub, we were talking about this big news, this big thing we got to tell you all about. And we thought, yeah, let's just tell people that's what we're doing. And that was after a couple of drinks. We said, we got big news next week. So it's only after I released that video and I got comments from people saying, can't wait to see what this big news is. I thought, that's not for 2 videos time. What are they talking about? Check the video and I saw what we did in that pub. So we got a big bonus for you. This Q&A was shot before the big news item. So I'm getting the video Q&A out today, and the big news, assuming I can edit it all together, because I could get the first one out because I've virtually finished that, but I've not even started the edit on the second one yet. I'm going to get that out 24 hours from now. Really sorry. If you want to see what our big news is, because it is big, make sure you subscribe so you get that tomorrow. Really sorry about this. We haven't done one for a long time, and it is way overdue, to be honest. So Q&A, you guys have asked the questions. We're going to provide the answers. Sarah's provided the coffee.
Yes.
Everything should be A-OK.
So today we are coming from Andover in Hampshire in England. And it's an absolutely beautiful day today. We had a really heavy storm last night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Woke us up, the wind did.
That's it.
So we found things scattered around the garden today. We are doing a cat sit for free. Beautiful cats.
That's
We've
right.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, we finish tomorrow, actually.
It's gone really fast.
It has been, yeah, it's been really fast, but we've been here without a car, so we've had to walk everywhere, and we've just been spending time with the cats. I'm looking over there because there's a cat basically watching us at the moment doing this video.
They're indoor cats, so they're at the window thinking, why aren't we allowed out there?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's not about the cats. We won't be sharing pictures of the cats, and that's why we're in this slightly unusual backdrop, because we need to stay close to home, but also find a place where sun's not going to be on top of us and all that kind of stuff. And we got sun for once here in the UK. So we're going to go through these questions. I've broken it down into, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 categories that people have asked. And it's very laid back. This is just going to be a stream of consciousness from us both, really, on these questions. The first one comes from Ian Whitaker. Hi, Ian. Ian's got 2 questions. One of them is actually that finance one, which we'll come on to at the end. And he's asked us about, this is in the category of travel problems, I guess. What about food poisoning and problems with stomach issues when you eat the food on your travels? How often have we had stomach pains or food poisoning? And is it more of a problem in some countries than others, and the type of vendors that you use to get the food from? And they say often don't drink the local water. And also the vegetables and produce can often be washed in that local water. So what is it that we do? So what do we do, Sarah?
Well, you've just got to use your common sense, really. To be honest, we've had issues because I think our stomachs are so sensitive coming from Western worlds that when we go other places, the cooking techniques, the water, the food is different. So we have had our issues. It's all stuff you can get medication for, and unfortunately you just have to go through it.
Yeah, a little tip for you here. There's something called Zentel. We took that when we were in Thailand, and we were then told, if you're a Westerner going to Thailand, you should probably take a Zentel every 6 months just to keep you on the straight and narrow. Yeah. So we've had in Mexico, I know Sarah had some stomach issues there. That's a place where they do wash the food in the local water and that can cause issues. We had an issue with some food
just
from a street vendor.
Yeah, just on that point, there is something you can buy. We didn't, but we know friends that got some solution that you can safely wash your vegetables and fruit in.
Yeah, buy that at the supermarket.
Yeah.
In Thailand, we had an issue with something we got from a street vendor. So a little tip on where you get food from: go to places that are busy, because that means that first of all the locals are going there, but secondly there's a turnover of the food. It's not sat out in the sun, that kind of thing.
But that is their culture, and again, because our stomachs aren't used to that. that's where we can get the problems. It's not because the food is bad.
Another question we've had from Watery Depths is that they've seen in our reports, they've seen reports that in some parts of Spain, the locals are not happy about the number of tourists visiting the country. Did we experience it? Because Watery Depths would like to visit Spain.
No, we didn't experience it at all. We know certain areas, noticeably Barcelona and the Canaries, were having issues, but these are very isolated incidents.
Yeah, it was basically a couple of protests. That's all. And it's going to make the news when in Barcelona someone fired a water pistol at some people eating in a restaurant. But what we found is that Spain loves having visitors. It's a large part of their GDP. So we didn't see anything like that. And there are isolated incidents of all kinds all around the world. You know, I saw that there was a bad hurricane in Texas yesterday. So does that mean we shouldn't visit Texas? No, it's just that things happen and you have to work around the things that happen. Don't let that put you off going to Spain.
It's a beautiful country.
Right, next is logistics. You read this one out, Sarah.
At Travel Blocks asked the question, Kayak does the same as TripIt. That's one of the apps that we mentioned in our previous video. But Kayak is free. Is there an actual difference worth paying for?
So there is a big difference because we were unaware of anything in Kayak. So we had a look at it and you can set up a trip, but in there you have to specify specific things that you're doing. If it doesn't appear on a map, then you can't put it in and you can't attach any tickets or anything like that. The way we use TripIt is if we're going to be in a town and there's one of our viewers in the town, they want to meet us for a drink, we'll say, meeting Pete for a drink. And we put it in there and we can make that decision 2 months previous and it will be in there. We don't have to specify who Pete is or anything like that. And if we've booked train tickets,
I think that's the key.
They can be
for us.
loaded
It's
in.
having those tickets handy within TripIt, and we couldn't. We might be wrong, so please let us know.
Well, I think the point is that you can in Kayak,
Right.
but it's only the tickets that you book in Kayak. Whereas TripIt is
okay.
totally agnostic. Any tickets you book,
Get it,
you
okay.
just email it to your TripIt account, and it automatically will load those details in, and you can attach anything there.
So at Bronwyn, Lind asks, your accommodation, do you use Airbnb, bookings.com or Expedia or something else? Your stays are typically how long in each place?
Yeah, so we started off by using Airbnb almost totally for every one of our bookings, but we then started to introduce hotels in there because often you can find hotels are really, really cost effective and more cost effective than using Airbnb. I think about some of the hotels we stayed in Asia where you wouldn't be able to find an Airbnb property for the same price, to be honest. But now we're pretty agnostic. We'll use Airbnb, we'll use bookings.com, we'll use hotels.com, we use Facebook groups, we use whatever is best for that location. Different locations have got different benefits. And there's actually an app that we're trialing at the moment that looks really interesting. We're not going to share it yet because we haven't actually booked anything via it. When we do, we will share it with you. And also you can get credit cards which give you different discounts as well. So I know in the US there are some really good credit cards that give you discounts on Hilton and all that kind of stuff. In the UK there's the Amex Gold card, but we don't spend enough time spending money on sterling to make that really work out for us. So we use a whole range of different sites.
We tend to find that we stay in the more quirky hotels and boutique hotels. So those credit cards with the Marriotts and the Hiltons, they're not really our
bigger
cup of
chains.
tea, and
And typically we try to stay for a month at a time, purely because that's when you get the best discounts. One of the things that we would recommend doing is if you're staying in something like an Airbnb or an apartment that you booked via bookings.com, then if it's a place you really like, get to know the host and contact them separately. We did that in Kuala Lumpur and went back to the place in Kuala Lumpur. Or Facebook groups, we booked an apartment in Istanbul via a Facebook group. So just mix it up.
And in Mexico.
We did, absolutely. Well, that was through a friend. That's the way it works. Just do what's best in each location, and it's not a one size fits all. Next, Pagan60 says, can you give me where you've gone chronologically since returning to the UK and buying the van? Which travels were via the van, car, plane, ship and train? And would you use that form of transport again? worthy accommodation, short-term rentals, house sitting, hotels, and Pagan also loves both channels. Quick point here, and I will refer to this a couple of times, and that is we do have 2 channels. This is To Go Home Travels, where we're honing all of our travel content here. And on the other channel, To Go Roam, that's where we talk more about retirement. If you're interested in both, make sure you subscribe to both, because we are really separating out the information purely because we used to get so many people saying, oh, I love it when you do your travel content, when we do something about retirement, and then we do something about travel and people say, oh, I love your retirement content. So just to keep it simple for everybody, we've separated that out. But what have we done?
In the van, we have spent 3 months touring around England, and we went to the US, Spain,
Yep.
France, Germany,
Yep. France,
UK.
We're doing a cat sit, as we said,
Yes.
at the moment. So we've had a variety of accommodations. The big question you're asking, there'll be a part of that answer in the next video.
Yes.
We're going to keep teasing this through here, not on purpose. We want to keep everything really in one place for that, which will answer another part of the question that you've asked here. What's the next one? Sorry, Pagan. What's the next one?
So 1965 Stockport says, loving seeing you both again. Sarah looks great. And yes, you do, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you. When are you going to share your travelling plans, or have I missed it somewhere?
That will all be in the next video. So I'm sorry I can't really provide you an answer to that question here, but you can be assured in the next video, we're going to share a load of information and then what comes next. So I hate having to say this. Hold off to next week.
We get annoyed when people do this.
We hate it when people do that.
There is a reason why.
And it sounds like it's clickbait. Oh, put it in this video. Don't keep putting things in the next video. It's there for a reason, and you'll see in that video. Okay, so next we've got Gail. Is he Gail and Edward, I think, or Gail Edward?
I think
whichever.
It's...
Anyway, I'm sure I've heard you talk about in a video eSIMs and mobile phones when traveling, but for life me can't find it. Have you done a video on this? I think we did do a video on this on the other channel, on To Go Roam, and I think that was when we were in Thailand.
It's when you got the eSIM.
So so to quickly cover it here, there are a number of eSIM providers. We used FlexiRoam, and basically what eSIM is a non-physical SIM that goes into your phone. So you've got your phone and you connect to a service via software, and you go to a new country and it works as a phone. It's a really great facility. We had a couple of teething problems with FlexiRoam when we used it, which I don't think is anything to do with FlexiRoam. I think it's more about how you use these eSIMs. We will be using eSIMs again towards the end of 2025, when I'll test out whether these kind of issues still exist.
Because where we've travelled in the last year, our UK SIM has worked.
Yeah.
So it works obviously around Europe.
Yeah, so we've been able to roam in the US.
So we're not very experienced with that.
Yeah,
totally,
but we will test it. We've had a number of eSIM companies reach out to us wanting to sponsor our videos, and we don't need an eSIM, so we've had to reluctantly decline those. So that's just where we are with that. And Barry Harveness, difficult with the names. Couldn't find your medical costs. Again, this is probably because it's over on To Go Roam. If you look at To Go Roam, not To Go Roam Travels, you'll see a couple of videos where I look very pained outside a hospital.
Yeah.
You'll find it there. We've had a number of questions. People saying they like this style of video. Would really like to know what your current plans are. What happened to the motorhome? Blue Manchester said, where's the van? And then NN Caddy, we know who you are. Do you have any plans to travel the van through Europe? And we've got Gaylinger says, I thought you'd be in your motorhome. Love you guys. All of that we're going to answer next week. Next week isn't about the motorhome.
No.
It's not about the motorhome.
Not about the motorhome.
But the motorhome forms a big part of why we're kind of in a tricky position at the moment. That'll be next week. Really sorry. Moving on to questions about YouTube and technology. So first of all, Mark and Annette say they would love to see what camera gear we use. So, Sarah, what camera gear do we use?
I'm just going to look straight at the camera and say our main camera, what we're using now, is a DJI. It's Action 4. That shows how much I know about our
Right,
cameras.
so I think on that basis, I'll answer this one. So the technology we use in our videos is always evolving, I would say.
Yes.
So when we started our YouTube channel, we did it all on GoPro, and GoPro did us proud. It was a fantastic camera. We still have got it as a backup if we need it. As Sarah says, what we're talking to you on at the moment is a DJI Action 4, which is a wonderful small camera. It's brilliant for travel. The image quality on there is really good, and the mic quality on there can be very good as well. Really good. We also use our phones. I've got a Samsung S23 Ultra. What I use that for is I shoot on there in 60 frames per second rather than 30 frames, so that I can slow things down and have that kind of cinematic look. So a lot of our B-roll is the things that you see come up over us when we're talking to make it a bit more interesting. So I shoot a lot of the B-roll on that camera simply by shooting in 60 frames rather than 30 and then slowing it down in post. One of our bugbears since we started doing this has been sound, and we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've had 6. We've had 6 mic systems. Okay. Just pick that box up, Sarah. Mics can be a real issue. We have literally started to use this today. This is the Hollyland Lark 2. These mics here.
They're tiny, tiny things, and it's great if you. I've got the magnet on. Mine's behind my shirt. Loving it. It's just so
let us
nice.
Know if it's great. It's the first time we've used it.
We've done a lot of research.
That's what it sounds like.
The thing is, wearing microphones, they just drag your t-shirt down, or you can't. If you're wearing a dress, you can't discreetly, especially if you need the wind shield on. You've got this caterpillar on your shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a number of issues with mics for a number of different reasons. Like the mic system we've used up until now, the most recent one is the DJI Mic 1.
That's been brilliant.
Brilliant mic system, but what it does do is it pulls your shirt down and looks a bit unsightly. So we're trying this out, see if this works. Having said that, I've used the onboard mic on the Action 4, not a mic plugged in, on 2 videos on 2 Go Roam, which one of them is out now. No, they're both out now, where I've just used the talking straight into the camera. So if you want to see what that sounds like, have a look at the 2 most recent videos on 2 Go Roam.
But we did have a drone, which we sold because we found we weren't using that.
Well, it wasn't that. We sold it.
Just the restrictions on
the restrictions. For me, it's all about traveling light. So I've got a bag which is so big, which we have all of our camera equipment in. And
it's taken 4 years to get to this. Right, this is my bag now. That's the equipment, and things are small enough now for the quality. You can carry a small camera.
And I'm using a tripod at the moment made by PGY Tech, which is really, really cool. I'll put something in the video so you can see what it is, because obviously I can't show you. One of the really good features of this mic, by the way, is noise reduction.
Is that good? Because the dogs have
just started. You let us know. There's dogs going crazy behind us, which is typical. The other thing is what we do with the footage afterwards, and I edit everything in something called DaVinci Resolve Studio. DaVinci Resolve is quite a complex system to use, and it takes some learning. And the one thing I'd say, if you're interested in any of this kind of YouTube stuff, often it's not about the equipment you use, it's how you use it. And I'm always making mistakes. I made mistakes when we were in Spain. A couple of big mistakes there. So you have to learn. You have to put the time in to learn. A lot of these things, like the Action 4 is really good, but I've got the settings on there that work perfectly for us. So you got to learn how to do that first. It's not about the quality of the camera. You'll hear a lot of people say you can just shoot on your phone, and you can if you're starting off. Learn the settings. That's the most important thing, and learn how to use.
And remember, if you change the settings, remember you need to take them back, because that's that's the main thing.
Yeah, I know. And I've always used DaVinci Resolve since we started this channel. And the great thing is, for the first 2 or 3 years making the videos, DaVinci Resolve's totally free. It doesn't cost a penny. And I upgraded Studio for some of the features in there that I wanted, and that cost me, I think, $290, a one-off payment to upgrade it, and that was done. And I've never looked back. I've just upgraded to the latest release of DaVinci Resolve today. onto version 19. Doesn't cost me a penny, which is brilliant.
No subscription. Which is
Nothing
good.
like that at all. So next one, Andrew Pimer says, what's the etiquette when filming in restaurants, museums? Do you always have to ask permission? What do you say to that, Sarah?
Most places you go, certainly museums or anywhere formal, so to speak, we'll have either a sign up or they'll see we've got cameras and things, they'll issue us with a list of etiquette. With regards to restaurants, we generally try to find just a table where we're not near people. And if we can't avoid that, we're very conscious of who's on camera, and we'll try and get seated that we're not actually recording people. Yeah.
So it's just about being a good human, Andy, and I know you well, and I know you are a good human. So that's all you've got to do is just be respectful. Sometimes I'll let restaurants know. In fact, we were in a pub about 3 days ago, and I had so it's another camera. We got a few cameras actually. So in there, I was using the Insta360 X4, which is quite an unusual looking camera, and the waitress in there said, "What the hell is this?" And so I explained to her, "We're making a YouTube video, but I'm just getting a very quick clip at the start, and this camera's going away." She didn't care, but often
you can sometimes sense there's a bit of awkwardness if there's people that know that they're on camera and we can't avoid it.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really sensitive towards that. And people don't want to be, have we ever been told not to film? We have.
We've been, I can think of two. You thought one more earlier. So I'll say the two and you think what the other one is. So we were in Belgium, I think, and I was just doing a pan up, looking at a pub that we were drinking in. So I was just doing a pan, which is where you would just move the camera up, looking at the front of this pub. There was a guy sat outside the front having a beer, and he went, "Whoa, I don't want to be on camera." So what I did in that situation, everybody does their own thing. I don't want to upset anybody, so I actually went up to him with the camera and said, "Sorry about that. This is the clip you're in. There you go. I've just deleted it because there's." No. You
don't want to get in any,
Well, I
upset anyone.
just don't want to upset anyone. Another time,
and if people feel that strong enough to actually shout that at you, you need to deal with that.
And we were also in Australia and walking past a bar, funny, and a guy got very animated. His language was a bit choice, let's just say, saying, "I don't want to be on your video." And the funny thing was, he was nowhere near our video. And I said, "Mate, you got nothing to worry about. You're very, very drunk." And you had another one that you can think of.
Recently, when we were in Birmingham Airport doing some filming. So, I mean, it's formal. It's going through security.
Well, no, she was wrong. So I ignored her. So we were going through security at Birmingham Airport.
We actually were nowhere near security. We were in the line.
Up to the security where you go through the barriers and show your boarding pass. And she came over and said, "Well, no video in. This is a secure area." I said, "No, this isn't a secure area." She said, "Yes, it is. You cannot video here." I said, "I can video here." She said, "I want you to delete that." And I went, "Okay." She said, "Right, thank you." I didn't delete it. I just did that on my camera because she was wrong. So I will never break any rules or any laws.
Immigration, things like that.
But sometimes people overstep what they think their rights are. Can you read the next one, Sarah?
Okay, Blue Manchester 4344. Why don't you use Instagram? I'm sure you get some traction for YouTube, and if you want a quiet week, you only need a quick Instagram post. This Toulouse trip could have had the hotel you used and flights, etc. on a quick Insta post. We're full-time, don't do the social media, so I do understand and appreciate the effort you put in.
And that's it, basically. It's all about effort. And when we started this journey of YouTube, we said at the time, we're going to do TikTok, we're going to do Instagram, Facebook. It really is work, because if you're going to do an Instagram post, then you've got to shoot in 9.16, not 16.9. And you've got to edit it together so it's fast paced and all that kind of stuff. And we just took a decision early on. Our platform is YouTube, full stop, because it's enough work on its own to do that. And I
personally don't even use Instagram myself as a viewer, so to actually then use it and put our stuff on there
It's too
not,
much.
it's not.
And
platform I
and then
like.
the point about if you've got a busy week, you could just do a quick Instagram post. That's a really good point. However, YouTube likes to see you doing regular content, and if you start to become irregular with what you're putting up there because you've decided to put something on a different platform, YouTube does start to say, well, okay, this creator is not as serious as they were, or not as serious as other creators, and they start to kind of devalue your content a little bit, which means that your content gets seen by fewer people. If we were a massive YouTube channel, then probably what I would say is we'd employ someone to do our Instagram reels and all that kind of stuff, but we're not. We never will be, and we wouldn't see the benefit for ourselves.
No.
So if you want to see Two Go Roam, you want to be on YouTube. So we've had a money question from Ian Whitaker saying, "Hi guys, great video. Any plans to do an annual budget update video, i.e. where you take into account the recent inflation spikes and cost of living increases and the impact on your world travel plans? I believe in the past your budget was something like 35k sterling, or was that USD? Has this increased for this year? Thanks, Ian." So, yeah, really, really good question.
Yeah.
First of all, this comes back to talking about YouTube again. When we started our YouTube channel, everything was about cost of living, and we thought that was our unique selling point of our channel. So we said this is what our budget is.
That's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
And we couldn't find, so
we made it.
That's what we wanted to do.
So we did it. This is our budget at the start of the year, and I can see it on screen here. So we said at the start of our first year traveling that it would be £35,000, which was 48,500 US dollars. And then we made another video saying what it would be, what it was at the end of that first year. And at the end of that first year was 44,098. So we actually came in US dollars, came in under budget, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
Problem we had though is those videos never got much traction. No one was interested. It's funny, I was watching a video the other day from a guy who teaches YouTube, who's absolutely fantastic. And he was saying, one of the stupid things that he once did is he had a channel where he had a certain type of content that he would put out every week, and it would get a certain number of views. And then he put on something totally different, and it got huge views, and then he kept doing his normal stuff. Then he put out another video of this other type, got huge views, and he said to his partner, "It's funny, isn't it, that the videos that our channel makes only gets this number of views, and we make this other kind of video and it gets huge number of views." And his partner said, "Do you think we're making the wrong kind of videos? We should be doing that." He went, "Oh, why didn't we think of that?" And he flipped it. So for us, we've just found people aren't interested. However, what we are doing is in our To Go Roam travels videos is we always share on screen. If we're in a restaurant, this is what we paid for where we are. If we're in a hotel, this is what we paid for the hotel. Yeah. So we are going to share that. And also coming up, probably after all the big announcements we've got, I think right after that, we're going to talk about budget a lot more and talk about how we have found ways to flex our budget to be a much more effective and much more efficient. And I think is somewhere where viewers of our channel might really gain something, and it could even be a little bit life-changing. So if you're thinking about being nomadic, how you could maybe flex things a little bit to do things even more financially efficiently.
And just to say, we do budget everything every day, and we do really keep an eye on those finances. So it's not as if just because we don't now show it, we're not doing it, but we do.
Well, we're tracking every penny. In fact, after we made this video, we got to track last 2 days. Yes. Got it all recorded. We just need to stick it into travel spend that we use. Now, we've mentioned a number of times in this video that we've got a bit of an announcement, and that's going to be in next week's video. It is not clickbait. We've had a bit of a challenge, a bit of a problem, and we didn't quite know how to deal with it, but we feel we've got a duty to share it with all of you, and that's what we're going to be doing. And
it's just some real life stuff, so click that notification bell so that you get notified when the video comes out.
And before you think, no, I'm not pregnant, this is just Sarah's excellent cooking. Our dream is world travel. What's yours?